It's nice to see you. I can't see you, but I say it anyway. What's going on, everybody? Nice to have you back here. It's the big thing. What a week it's been. As Eugene Levy said, what a week I'm having. None of my co-hosts know what movie that is because they weren't born during the time. Splash, 1984.
I love Splash.
Good for you. So it's great to have you guys here. And we're doing a rewatch. It's Thor today as we get ready to go see Thor Love and Thunder. And we're going to be doing a rewatch every Friday leading up to it. There's a few reviews already on the channel. So subscribe if you haven't done it already. Got a Black Phone review up. I got Elvis review up. Got all the Obi-Wan stuff up. There's some reactions going on. It's a little busy week, man. And at this point, the out of the theater reaction for Thor is already on the channel as well. So we are doing good old Thor today. It is the 2011 Kenneth Branagh film. I got Winston. I got Coy. And we are doing it. Let's go. Come on. It's a big thing. Let's get it. Look at the wide shot. You didn't know it was going to happen. A garage door with a curtain hanging off the back and a ring light. There's Ken knapsack next to the horse. All right. So, you see him up there?
Beautiful work.
Yeah, Ken did that.
Look at him with it all beardless.
So that's that's from I did an hour show at it was my hour special that I did at this place called Room 5, and it was Ken and my buddy LJ, my friend Jody Miller, who all went up before me. Ken hosted the night, so that's the headshot that he used for it. Cool. So this is a wide shot that we're using at the moment. I think people like it. Just you get to see the full setup of the show in general, and then you get this one. I'm trying to fix Coy's lighting. Give me a break.
Figure it out.
We'll work on it. I just got a wide shot for you. So you've been talking about the wide shot forever. There you go.
We just need to get like another tiny ring light
Right here.
We need a ring
Straight
light.
on.
Yeah, we need a
Maybe
ring
one
light
of these,
there.
but like here.
I think so.
yeah.
Balance
Or
my
just the new
face.
studio would be great too.
I mean, hey,
We're getting there, right?
That's a
We're
thing.
working on it.
We'll see.
I hear rumors. I hear a lot of rumors.
Who knows anymore? I have no idea. All I know is that we watched Thor. Thor?
We watched Thor.
When Coy and Thor
watched
team
Thor.
up, it's Thor.
Yeah. You know what you do
your
that's
future
terrible,
name?
by the way?
What do I do? That's terrible.
You bounce back and forth.
I'm a big.
You just sit,
have you
sit
met?
still.
I mean, you met me.
Will
When have
you?
I ever sat still?
No,
Okay,
it's
let's
true.
see. I'll focus
Let's
up.
see. Let's try.
I'll find some
I'll do
zest.
this.
Pretend like Magneto was pulling your adamantium skeleton straight down.
I'm going to do this once.
Locked it. Okay, what do we
I
got?
don't want to do it again.
Okay, this is as far back as I'll go. So I'll fall forward. Oh, look at that. It's perfect.
Atta girl.
Look at all that
All right.
darkness.
All right.
Clever girl.
Clever girl.
Let's talk.
Never again. We're
Never
done.
again.
We're done
That's
with
it.
that.
No
We're
more.
done
Well,
with that.
don't
Thor.
jinx it. Don't jinx
It's
it.
inevitable. It's coming back.
Don't
Let's not
jinx it.
talk
Are
about
we gonna
that.
watch them all again if they do another world?
I don't think so.
Never.
At that point, I don't think we have to at that point. But Thor was something I was actually looking forward to rewatching. I actually did watch it recently with my wife, where we did the MCU rewatch, and we didn't get through all of them, but we got through all the Thors, but we didn't get through all the MCU movies yet. Sure. But it's amazing when you look at where Thor is today, and not even just his solo movies, but the character in general from 2000, where he is in 2022 to where he was in 2011. They were going more so with that. He's serious. Everyone else is kind of joking around him, but he's more the serious. Even when he's doing things, like when he slams down which is hilarious. When
Yeah. This is delicious.
Yeah, but
There's a deleted scene of him going back and bringing the waitress a mug and apologizing and ask if he can imbibe in their fluids and like basically
I mean, that's hilarious.
They should have kept it in, but they literally he takes a mug from Natalie Portman's and brings it to the cafe and apologizes.
That would have been the same way in because we're going to talk about Dark World next week. In the same way in Dark World, there's the two post credits.
Yeah.
That would have been
great
a perfect
post-credit.
second post credit, like to the fun one where it's just him giving the mug. But again, we didn't
have those yet. It wasn't a precedent.
We weren't there yet.
Yeah, I thought that what Kenneth Branagh did in this movie was he brought his style that kind of they asked him for that Shakespearean stuff that you could feel it inside of the actual Asgardian stuff and the way that was set up, and that was kind of that epic feel. And there's comedy in this movie for sure. And it's funny because when I saw the movie back when it came out, and even Dark World, I had such a like I don't think I was used to the Marvel humor yet, the way they sprinkled it in, because that's what Kat Dennings is there for. I think Kat Dennings is way better in Loki than she is in these movies. But
she's in Loki?
Yeah, not Loki.
I mean,
not Loki.
WandaVision. I just immediately filled it in
That's
too.
what I meant. WandaVision. So, but yes. They all blend together.
I know. I just for half a second my brain was like,
No.
Do I need to rewatch Loki? What's going on with Loki?
But it's funny you mention Loki because of how far we've come. And it's funny because you look in the terms of a movie and you look at that character development of like the journey they go on and where they go, how much, as you've mentioned, all of these characters evolved.
Yeah.
I actually rewatching this did not like Loki. I remember when I first saw this movie.
You're not supposed to.
Yeah.
Well, no, but not even in the way that like you know how people have had.
Oh, you didn't like the portrayal.
You know how people, because that was the thing again. For someone that's supposed to be the god of mischief, and we get more of that in the later films.
Right.
Yeah.
He's not really mischievous. He's just kind
Pissed
of a
off.
scheming douche,
Yeah.
and he's
Yeah.
mad all the time.
Yeah.
And not that Loki isn't in the books and everything else, but it felt, now that we've gotten to see a 3D Loki,
Right.
coming back to what looks like a 2D Loki was just very disappointing.
It's interesting looking at the MCU as a whole because, you know, we talk all the time about how it's like serialized, almost like TV. It's like 2-hour episodes, but it's interesting to look at when you've only had 2 hours of exposure.
Yeah.
All an actor can do, and then the writing evolves and changes. But I'd say like between, you know, the big three, as much as I think Cap and Iron Man's arcs are perfect in how they cross, but I think Thor has had the biggest change in the entire MCU.
Absolutely.
As far as characterization, and Loki's not far behind.
I completely agree with you, and it's actually what I love the most when I go back and look at Infinity War and Endgame. If you look at all of them, they've all these heroes have lost something. Thor has
Right.
lost everything.
When he spells it out to Rocket, you realize the scope of it. And I love the idea of using comedy as a coping mechanism, but it also is embracing Chris Hemsworth's inherent, like, how is that guy that funny? Like, the dude shouldn't be able to look that good, be that talented, and be comedic.
But
Like,
that's also the thing. I don't think they in this
Didn't
movie
know yet.
they haven't discovered how funny he was. Like,
Right.
He hits his comedic beats in this movie.
Yeah.
But he's not. He's meant to be the guy. He's meant to be Thor.
Right.
Right. And the Thor that everybody. There's a lot of people that still wish they had that Thor.
Yeah.
Right. Because once he gets, I can't remember where the switch really came because.
there's a moment in
and
Dark
then-
World and then eventually Ragnarok.
Yeah, but Dark World, he's still portrayed as kind of serious story. I think it happens in more so in like
Avengers.
Is it Avengers?
I think Whedon brought it out of him. If
Yeah,
I'm being honest.
Avengers. He does. That's true. He
And
just-
Age of Ultron.
Yeah, he starts. It's the other movies that he starts to develop it, and then I think then he does movies, whether it's Vacation or Ghostbusters and those things, and people. Oh, wait a minute, we should be using Chris Hemsworth for some of these comedy bites here too, and then they switch it up more so, and obviously they really lean in on it in Endgame. But this particular movie, I don't think they knew what to do with Thor yet, right? And it worked. I think it worked.
It works. It's one of those things that like this is still a mid to lower mid movie for me MCU wise, just because things have gotten so good in that regard. But that doesn't mean it's a bad movie.
Yeah,
You know
it's
what I'm
just
saying?
comparing it to. I mean, if you start with something, it needs to grow. So it's good that it improved, and that just means like this was foundational. And if you look at the story making this movie, like it was released by a different distributor. It was way back in the early Marvel days. When they did the press release, it was like Marvel takes risks, cast 2 unknowns, Chris Hemsworth and Tom Hiddleston, and Tom auditioned for Thor.
Right.
And then got Loki,
Right.
and Liam Hemsworth was the one that had booked Thor until his brother came back and was like, nope. Like, we almost had a Liam Hemsworth Thor.
Really?
Right.
And that was like literally, I think it was like 3 weeks before production, something absurd. Chris came in and auditioned again. They're like, ooh.
But bring in Joss Whedon though. Who was that? What was the horror movie that
Cabin in the Woods.
Cabin in
He
the Woods.
produced.
That
Yeah,
was,
he
but
did.
that's what that. See, that was, if I remember correctly, that was in the can. They had already shot that. It was done. I know it came out afterwards. I think it came out afterwards.
It got delayed for like 2 years.
It got delayed for a while, and then because I can remember the story where he was like, "You got to see this guy. This is the guy that should audition." He was really pushing him after.
Yeah.
because he had also shot that horrible ass Red Dawn remake. Red Dawn's one of my favorite movies of all time. The original 1984.
You're talking
film.
about Kevin Smith's?
No, not Red State. Red Dawn.
Red Dawn, a
Okay.
remake
Red-
with Liam Hemsworth, I believe.
Yeah,
no,
yes,
is it
yes,
Chris?
yes, yes.
Chris Hemsworth.
Chris and
so
yeah, I
Red,
haven't seen it in years.
Red Dawn, the original,
Yeah, genius.
is Charlie Sheen, Patrick Swayze. It's a phenomenal John Milius film. I love that movie. It's great 80s movie. And then they were going to remake it, and it was Josh Peck and Hemsworth as in the Swayze role, and they switched. And it's terrible. He's good in it, but it's terrible. And it was before he really popped, and because that was another movie that was shot.
Yeah,
they did
well
all these-
before.
Yeah, they did all these reshoots because they didn't want to piss off certain countries and say they had to reshoot what countries it
Right.
was. Anyway, so he hadn't come out with Thor yet, and then I remember that came out after Thor, and it was like the same thing that happened when Jennifer Lawrence popped in Hunger Games. She had some horrible ass horror movie that she shot.
Oh, right. And they were like, ooh, this is a
House
headliner
at the
now.
End of the Street or something like
Yeah,
that.
well, even in Star Trek, like he's the dad. He's Kirk's dad in Star Trek.
Yes,
well,
he
that's
in the
but
Kelvin
that's,
universe.
but that's where he first people go, who's that?
This guy.
Who's
Yeah,
that
because
guy?
in 5 minutes he
That's
steals
star
so
power.
much.
Yes,
yeah,
100%.
You're immediately like, that's a movie star.
And he carries on that the charisma is there for sure throughout it. And you understand the casting is so perfect as this, even though he's not doing this Thor that we see today, the Thor that we do see, you get all the arrogance, you get the progression of where he starts from, of this just arrogant fool who is just blinded by hubris and can do it. And even his dad's like, no, you've got it, but you're just not, you're not doing it right, man.
Sorry.
I was just going to say it's really interesting because Odin is wise, but he does have that mentality if you look at him over the course of all media of having that same hubris.
Yeah.
Where he passes it on to his son. So it's so interesting to see this portrayal by Hopkins to really father his son to get to the place he needs to go, including when he finally dies in Ragnarok, when he's giving his last piece of advice.
10-year or 5-year spoiler.
Which how many times are they gonna be like, yo, Odin dead, son?
dead.
Odin
Bah.
dead, nah. Yo, Odin dead. Nah.
Hey,
Yo,
Loki.
Odin dead.
Loki's dead. Nah.
this
Well,
time.
I like this cast.
Stab him through the chest with a lightsaber. He'll live.
He'll be fine. Just one poke.
Stomach, sorry.
Hey, you get
Ooh, someone
a hand
sounds
cut
good.
off in the OG. You get a little pokey in the stomach in the new ones.
But Qui-Gon.
Two
Qui-Gon's
stomachs,
like,
bro.
wait a minute. Everybody can get stabbed and live? I gotta be a Force ghost in the desert?
Somehow fill in the
What?
blank survived.
Come on.
But I do think this was one of the most wasted casts of what they had at the beginning, because Idris Elba should have been so much bigger than what they do with
Right.
Heimdall. Natalie Portman gets like very much like damsel in distress.
Well,
and
let's
it's
talk
insane
about
to
her
look
though
at
for a
this.
second, because Natalie Portman, it's so bizarre. I think she's such a great actress. Like, she's a great actress. But when she's not invested, it's phone in city.
Yeah.
Like, you look at like someone like Tom Cruise, never phones it in, no matter
Not
what
once.
he's in. He can be in The Mummy, and he's not phoning it in, right? For some reason, when Natalie Portman is not, and it's not for some reason, we all get that. If you're not really taken aback, or maybe it's exactly what you just said. She's a damsel in distress.
I think she got the
wasn't-
script, was like, okay, and
she
just didn't
doesn't
invest.
seem and because the chemistry's not there with them.
Yeah.
it's not. He's
I love
trying.
that last kiss is his real wife. You guys knows that?
No.
So the shot of her from the back, the final kiss, is his Elsa, like his wife,
really?
his real wife.
It's not
So
Natalie.
it's not even Natalie Portman. So that moment of chemistry, not even
funny.
Natalie Portman.
Did they say why?
She wasn't there that day, and they're like, "Oh, his
wow.
wife's here. Let's use her as the stand."
Hilarious.
Hey, if it works, it works.
And she's
but-
great in the Fast and the Furious movies. She's
Yeah,
like,
that's fair.
So another camera credit.
I mean, you're not off base here, man, because I don't know if you guys remember what No Strings Attached and Friends with Benefits
love
came out at
both
the
those.
same
Yeah,
time.
I love
Yeah.
both of them.
And I love them both too, but
Yeah.
there's a reason why I believe it was Friends with Benefits was Justin Timberlake, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
That one with Mila Kunis did better.
No Strings Attached did better with it was Ivan Reitman's film.
With Ashton?
Yeah, and Natalie Portman.
No,
Well, it was-
no way.
I'll tell you right now that I'll tell you which movie was better.
So look up the box office.
Out of the two of them that I saw, No Strings Attached was a much better film.
Really?
Oh yeah, I remember
liked them
Ellis
both.
and
I don't remember
Ellis
which.
and I. Let's see. I'm gonna look. I'll look.
Let's see.
I love how this has become.
The recurring theme is box office
Pulling up the
mojoing.
box off to see.
And it's not even about the movie we're talking about.
That's
It's
what I
like
mean. That's what
context.
I
what I'm saying.
liked them both, but for some reason in my mind, I remember Friends with
Star
Benefits
power.
doing better.
Let's see. It's Star Power. No Strings Attached.
150.
Made 150 mil and
Off
cost
of 25.
and cost 25.
Wow.
It
So-
opened almost its budget.
And
That's
then, what's the other
incredible.
one called?
Friends with Benefits.
Yeah, I think this one didn't do well, if I remember correctly. It made one.
They also made
Oh, same.
150.
but
cost a little more.
it cost a little more. So just about the same.
They
So
both did great.
So technically, because of budget and
What
everything.
about
too.
what about reviews? Let's go.
I miss
Give me a break.
rom-coms,
Let's-
man.
We'll do it later. We'll do
The
it
only,
later.
the only reason why I asked though was because that actually felt like a Natalie Portman phone in to me.
Oh, which one did? No Strings
No
Attached?
Strings Attached.
Oh,
That's why-
really?
That's why I was curious if one did better than the other.
Oh
as
no!
far
I
as
see.
remember.
I didn't see that. I actually thought she had chemistry with Ashton Kutcher.
No,
but
no, she does.
But either way, this particular thing and how they set up the relationship with her and Kat Dennings, and Kat Dennings clearly the one who's crack jokes and
Yeah.
hey, look at the hot god and all that. Those things. I mean, the humor in this one worked and it's funny because I remember hating the humor in both of these. Watching it, but then watching it back, I don't mind them as much, and I don't know what changed.
I think you just got into the MCU tone. Like the world's changed.
Yeah,
like
but
they
even,
built a thing.
But even if there's, I mean, I guess so. I guess maybe the goofy. That was the first
Expectations.
But I guess back in 2011, that was the real first glimpse of the goofy humor that can pop into these movies, because you have. Hulk didn't have much of it.
Nope. Iron Man is just
Iron Man didn't have much of it. Just yeah,
Snarky.
exactly.
It's like snarky Downeyisms, which you expect.
Yeah. What was the Iron Man 2 Cap? No.
Caps came in the form of like, you want to serve your country, son,
Yeah.
and then he's at the USO show.
Yeah, the hyper
So there wasn't
patriotism
really-
was like
there wasn't-
tongue in cheek.
Yeah, I guess I wasn't used to it yet, and now and I still don't always love it. I still think
I mean,
that
this
sometimes
is 3 years out from Dark Knight and Iron Man. Like it's
Right.
new tone. So
It is.
I get why
Yeah, I
you'd
think
feel
that's-
that way.
I think that's what it was, and I think the Kat Dennings just kind of threw me off because it was that's when they really started going for. This is just these are just jokes.
Yeah.
And it's not like a real character.
I remember I saw this in theaters with my dad, and it was the first time I was like, I think they're actually gonna be able to do this. I
Yeah.
think they're actually gonna be able to make, because you get Iron Man, that can be a fluke, and you just have an Iron Man franchise. You get Captain America, but you're like, how are those gonna go together? But once they landed Thor, I remember thinking like, okay, they've got the big three from the Avengers. I think they might actually be able to do this, because the tone of Thor was so different from Iron Man and Cap, but it still felt like something new. I wouldn't call it a Marvel movie yet, but I didn't know what I was feeling. I was just like, this is the beginning. And to me, to this day, Thor is one of the only times it looks like they cut the budget, because they're all of a sudden in one like remote town. They're like, we've got this one set.
Right. Well, they're
And
probably
you've got,
nervous.
like-
You got to remember
'cause
how
you don't-
nervous they are at this point.
two unknowns.
Because they have not done Avengers at this point. They're
Right.
setting up each character. Cap did good.
Yeah.
Cap did good. Hulk did not do the numbers that they thought it was going
Yeah.
to do. So, and they're trying to lead up to the Avengers. So they're cutting back as much as they can. They're setting up each one of their characters, and they're not the MCU that they are today.
No.
They're it's the.
That's what I'm saying. So impressive is the fact that they're so like, hey, we got to cut the budget, but we'll do this. Like I
Yes.
thought it was smart even then to go like, hey, we don't have all of these things we can gamble with. Let's do one set here. Let's have this take place in one diner. Like it felt contained, but still.
But I'll tell you what you don't want to gamble with. You don't want to gamble with your comfortability, and in order to really use this RUMPL stuff, I got to get you guys one. I love the RUMPL blankets, man, because there are a lot of blankets right now on the market. There's only one dedicated to sustainability. There aren't many blankets out there at all that can take the great outdoors, and they're bumpy, they get dirty. I love this blanket. I'm not kidding you. I gotta bring it in here next time I show it. There's over 135 prints. RUMPL is the perfect blanket for outdoors, indoors. You can take it to the beach, take it camping, picnic, whatever. I just love it. I take it to my kids play, whether it's soccer or I'm taking them to the beach. It's just comfortable. It's really comfortable. It shakes off dirt and sand really well. And they recycle over 5 million plastic water bottles a year, and they offset their carbon footprint. Each blanket is made from 60 recycled water bottles. That's pretty great. Their products are weather-resistant, durable, cozy. They make the products that can be used in great outdoors or on your couch, to be honest. You can save 15% off, but you have to use that code BIGTHING or visit rumpl.com/bigthing. And I've been telling you guys this for a bit. People keep asking how you can support the show. Hey, I can't join Patreon, but I can. What can I do? Merch, merch, those things too. But sponsors are the lifeblood of this show, and we only join up with people that we really enjoy working with and that we endorse, and RUMPL is one of those. So if you are able to, get yourself one of the blankets, and then let me know what you think also, because when I put it in the comment section, I can show to them, and they go, oh, wait, people are listening. Because that is the biggest thing. People will say, even the sponsor guy who I was talking to was like, yeah, it's the click conversion.
Yeah.
You can talk about it, but they gotta click on
Engage.
it. They gotta click on it, otherwise we lose sponsors, and then no more rewatches.
No more rewatch, guys.
So,
no more rewatch.
but you got to like the product. You got to like what you got. I don't want you to just buy something you don't like. You got to go and then you got to check it out, and then I want you to tell me about it, because there's tons of stuff that we have here.
I was gonna say, I'm not familiar with this particular one, but other ones that we've done, I'm not gonna name them by name because we're supposed to be pumping this one right now. We, like, you and the team have done a really good job of picking
Getting stuff we
that's
like.
quality.
Yeah. It's the stuff that it's got to be the stuff that we like, and then. Because if I can't get excited about it, I can't be honest with you guys. So that's why I want you to try it. And especially, again, get a blanket, lay outside with it, go to the beach with it, go wherever you can go, especially with summer now and everything too, and then come back and let me know how it is. Okay. So as we move on to other things going on in it's the mission itself. What did you think about the overall story in this one, though?
It worked from, especially from a comic book standpoint.
Simple, more simple.
Yeah, it's a lean. You've got to make sure Thor goes from I'm a god to am I human to I'm worthy. Like, it's a very important arc, and that's followed him through the entire MCU. He's always searching for a sense of self, and there's so many people that don't want. I like when gods are the original intent of gods, which is to be a mirror to us of our failings. It's not, they're not supposed to be these all-powerful deities. Actually, they need to have flaws in their own ways, which is why when they cast Russell Crowe as Zeus in the new, Thor movie, I was like, oh, good. They got a guy that looks like Zeus, I imagine, from the original myths.
Look, it's Russell Crowe.
Yeah, he's not Gladiator. It's a guy that puts his dick in everything and causes problems. Like, that's his whole thing. That's what Zeus is. So, like, you need that in these gods, because I don't love that Zeus in the Snyderverse is just a bodybuilder that doesn't say a word. And then the DC fans and Marvel fans have this weird thing of like, we're going to pit them against each other for absolutely no reason. Zeus doesn't even have a line in that movie, but fans want to fight. And I love...
Everybody's cordial.
Oh, there's the best. The internet's great. But Thor did a great job of establishing Odin as godlike but fallible, and Thor's whole thing is searching for self, and I think that's a beautiful journey across 4 movies. I think that's an important story to tell. So I think the story worked because it gave us the foundation we've lived on since.
100%. I did say, talking about, I wanted to bring this up at some point with fandom that is hilarious, by the way.
Star Wars.
Yes, but it's great. Within the course, I'm not kidding you both. Within the course of, I think it was 12 minutes, I was going through the comments and responding back with the Obi-Wan finale, and I saw Harloff is a Star Wars shill and will never criticize Disney. And then 5 seconds later, it was, Harloff's too negative on this stuff, man. Harloff hates it. And then I switched back and it's just like, of course Harloff loves his show. He loves everything Star Wars. And then flip it, why don't you let Steph talk? She's the one who thinks the most positive stuff anyway, and you're just nitpicky. And I was like, you can't win. You can't win. You can't win.
That's how you know you're killing it.
You caused that much rage.
Everybody
got that much rage.
Dude, you should. It was hilarious. I was going through it. It's like, wait, do I hate it or do I love it?
Tell me how I feel, because I clearly don't know.
It was amazing. Like, dude, stop complaining about it. Stop loving it so much. Like, what I do? It was hilarious.
Oh, man.
It's hilarious.
The internet's a lot. I posted a thing where Nerdist ran an article saying that Hayden Christensen and Ewan both want to come back for season 2.
Yeah.
And I literally sarcastically went, oh, spoilers. Now I know neither of them dies in the finale. And the amount of people that are like,
they didn't
dude,
get it?
Hundreds of comments. It's insane. I'm so actually impressed. Someone's outside your door.
Yeah, it's probably my wife.
Oh, yeah.
My wife.
She waved. It's your wife.
She probably.
Oh, no, you got a little kid, too.
Yeah.
Hey, look, it's a family. They're all waving. We got a little parade.
It's true. Yeah, who knows who it is. It's the truth.
Where's the dude?
Where's the dude? He's out there somewhere.
Speaking of the dude, I am excited about Love and Thunder. We'll get back to OG Thor, that we're getting the goats finally.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, it's true. And well, look, at this point, we've all seen.
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
Oh, that's right.
Goats
Future
were
us,
dope.
man. I
Those were
love
good.
the goats.
No, it was
The
good.
goats are the real MVP.
You know what?
The goats of the film.
I didn't like the goats. You know, they were terrible. I love the goats. Thanks, Disney, for putting the goats.
Man,
in.
Kristian doesn't know he
Kristian
loves the
loves
goats.
the Disney show. He loves the goats. No, he's
I'm a
going to
goat
say
shill. I'm a goat shill. I don't know what to do.
He's too critical of gore. He's not critical enough.
Now he's
No,
going to say he's upset that Tyrannosaurus Rex in Jurassic Park ate the goat.
I'm a goat shill. He hates goats. He's a goat hater. He's a
He
goat
hates
hater.
Michael Jordan. He hates goats.
Noted PETA member Kristian Harloff hates goats.
Tom Brady could suck it.
Anyway, it's hilarious. I couldn't believe it. My head was spinning. I was just trying to post my Elvis reaction.
Yo, he loves Elvis. He loves rock and roll. Oh, here's a ring.
Hates jazz, doesn't he? But he hates jazz.
I could bouncing back and forth. Anyway.
So I think they did waste Heimdall a bit. I do think they wasted, in the beginning, Natalie a bit, but I also think you needed this foundation to be strong. So I don't critique this film as harshly as some. I do think it is in the lower tier of Marvel just because
do a lot of people critique the first
people
one? Really?
people like, well, not as bad as the second one, but overall they put it in the lower echelon.
It is considered, to what I've heard, it is considered on the lower end of the trilogies.
Yeah.
So you had 3 trilogies, and they were only for the big 3, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And
he's the first one to get a 4.
Yes.
Typically, people have been saying that it goes Cap, Iron Man, Thor.
Yeah.
That's what most people will say.
Out of the and I think that could change obviously with the 4th movie, but I think most people put Ragnarok as the best
Yes.
With this one coming in, and then I'm one. I don't know where you guys stand on it. We'll talk about it obviously next week. But I'm one of those people who don't hate Dark World.
Yeah, I'm not. I've defended it. It's not the worst thing ever.
I don't hate it. It's considered by many as like the worst
one.
The worst
It
MCU film. I don't feel that way.
Grown on me, especially knowing that we are getting Jane Foster back. I needed to see a little more strength and agency, I guess, because she's gonna obviously get the hammer and become Thor herself. I needed to see that, and her with the ether, with the reality stone. You got to see that a little bit in this next film, because in this one, smart as a whip,
right?
But there is this thing where all of a sudden her brain shuts down every time Thor
that was
comes
my
around.
issue with it. Was like they very consciously did the damsel in distress thing, where it was like, oh, big boy, and like that's so not. It's not her. It's not the story. It's not.
She's like out here being like, and this 50 million years ago on this physics plane that opened up a wormhole that gave us the galaxy, you have muscles.
You handsome. And that's not the character.
What do we think about the final?
The Destroyer?
Yeah.
I mean, it is a enemy that has shown up numbers of times in books. It is kind of exactly that. I think the only thing that I kind of hated is there's a point at which in both the Avengers cartoon and in a book where Loki will actually fully possess the Destroyer and use it as his body. So it's not just like go kill and it's like
that might have been too much for audiences. That was my thought. I was thinking like when you're not used to Loki yet.
I get that, but that what you could have easily done is maybe Thor like beats the Destroyer on Earth.
Right.
He goes to fight Loki. Loki obviously is very rarely a match for Thor.
Right.
So then he's like, fine. And then he brings the armor up and let us have a battle that way.
Sure.
I thought that would have maybe been a little more interesting because by the time we got to him fighting Loki on the Bifrost, I was like, I don't know.
We already had a big fight.
Yeah, but what I did like with how Thor was punished, sent to kind of go live on Earth without the powers and all that. I thought that worked, and I also think that
also that first Thor fight, like you're talking about, like when he first lands on Earth, like when we get Hawkeye for the first time, that was again a moment where my brain, as a comic fan, like you got to remember, audience. Back in the day, we didn't have crossovers really.
Right.
Like there was the occasional like TV crossover, but to see Hawkeye in a Thor movie, I can't even describe how I felt.
Yeah. Well,
I was like, this is possible.
Yeah, and they set this up though with what is it? The post-credit scene in Iron Man 2. Is that right? When they find the hammer.
Yeah. I like my brain. I just couldn't comprehend it, and I really wish I could describe that feeling because there's people growing up now that will never understand that was special.
It just is.
It's the standard. That's just how it goes.
Right.
Is it? But my question is did that not do it for you in Iron Man 2 because Scarlet was promoted so much?
She was in the trailers to such a level, and Hawkeye, I remember, was like in the background, like rumblings. It was like I hear Hawkeye's in this.
Okay,
so like when he appeared, it was like, oh, this is kind of like the Spider-Man moment in No Way Home. To be honest, like I kept hearing, but I didn't believe it.
Right.
And where ScarJo was like, I'm the second lead. So like to see Renner, and I'm also a big Renner fan because the town and like his work in Hurt Locker and everything else. So that was a thing of like, oh, they actually got the guy from the Ultimates line, made him all Chester Benningtoned up, did the thing.
I got a question for you, man. So that Thor gets to Earth, right? He doesn't have his powers.
Right.
Is he supposed to be human? Because my guy got hit by 2 cars. Ended up having, like, I know he's not God strength, but did end up going up against, like, an Andre the Giant, like, dude in S.H.I.E.L.D.
I've always thought that he isn't the powers of a god, but he is still inherently immortal because his biology hasn't changed.
Still has
he's still an Asgardian. Okay. So even though think about it, the Warriors 3, they could get hit by a car. They're not Thor. Yeah, so he's still got the infrastructure biology.
Okay, he just doesn't have like the thunder powers and the power and like the strength boost. And,
he's just not an 11.
He just got stripped of his citizenship, basically.
Yeah, exactly. He's a man of that country.
His royal lineage.
And then he's unworthy of the hammer, which is those additional. It's kind of like what they talk about in Ragnarok, which I thought was interesting. Like you're not the god of hammers, and that whole like concept. And in fact, there's an arc right now in the comics called God of Hammers, where basically Mjolnir, dude, Johnny Cage is genius. God of Hammers. But Mjolnir breaks like it does in the comics, and Odin takes over the actual Mjolnir. So Odin's force is in the hammer itself. So when he talks to the hammer, it's talking to Odin. So now he's the god of hammers by way of Odin being a force that died that's imbued in the hammer, which is fascinating.
It's interesting since we're getting this other Thor book. I've been reading this current arc of Hulk and Thor, where right now you have Hulk fighting.
Oh yeah, it's also Donny Cates.
Hulk Thor.
Yeah.
And that in itself is insane.
It's so metal.
So that's the thing that I think I'm most interested in with Love and Thunder, as we just saw earlier. before this.
So good.
You know what I mean?
Maybe.
Amazing. All the things that they're bringing in right now, these stories we haven't heard.
Colors,
you went straight up Goldblum there. Yes.
All the things, the colors,
you saw the movie.
possibilities. And,
Josh Robert Thompson. When you,
welcome to Love and Thunder.
the Christian Bale's gore.
The goats. Yes,
So-
yes. Goats. Goat's milk. Goat's mother. Yes, yes, yes.
Well, what did you think about Frigga, man? Because I love that they brought her.
Dude, Renee Russo.
Yeah,
I mean,
great.
The casting is amongst the best of the Marvel films.
Yeah.
It's like Kenneth Branagh's like, all right, I've been waiting 20 years to call in these favors. I'm one of the most established directors of this
100%.
genre.
Well, I don't
And
know
then
how many favors he needed to call in though, too, because it's still
Marvel wasn't a big thing yet.
They still had Marvel money. It wasn't Disney money at the time. It was still. It was
I mean,
Paramount,
this
wasn't it?
money was
Or
like, this was like,
Universal?
I think this was like
Paramount.
$110 million budget, which is tiny. I mean, for what it is, I want to say this one was a pretty small budget. So I think this felt like a lot of favors.
I don't know, dude. You got to remember, still, as Renee Russo is a phenomenal actress. She's not on poster. She's not pulling in Julia Roberts money.
But like between Natalie Portman, Idris Elba, Renee Russo,
Idris wasn't a thing
Anthony
yet, bro.
Hopkins. Yeah, but like look at that cast as far as like the
Now.
talent.
but that's still that's
true.
it's not a big price.
Hopkins was.
There are three. Hopkins.
Plus 150 mil. It's still a lot of money.
Holy
for 2011.
Okay, that's way more than I thought it was. I
That's a
take it
lot.
back.
That's a lot.
But
I rescind my
and
statement.
it still almost hit half a billion.
It
That's cool.
had half a bill. It was 449 million, which is still it's good. And I think that you put that, knowing how big of a character Thor is now, that is a smaller number considering, like, because there's no if Thor Love and Thunder makes 450 million, that's a problem.
Things have gone poorly.
Yeah, it's a problem.
So Ragnarok was what, 800?
Is that what it was?
Yeah, I think so.
Because
It was. We saw it approaching a bill.
We hadn't hit a billy yet.
853. Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah.
Look at me go,
Dude. Only a $30 million more budget though.
That's crazy.
It's only
They did it on
30 million
180.
more.
Well,
That's
I wonder.
Dark World made almost 700 mil.
Wow.
I mean,
that
that's
was the
name
thing.
recognition.
We were on a roll.
We were all hoping too.
Yeah.
We were like,
Yeah.
because I'm trying to think what MCU movie.
It was after Avengers. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
What
and
MCU movie has bombed at this point? Like,
Bombed?
Black Widow did, but that was timing. That was pandemic.
That
That's
doesn't
not,
count.
That's not her fault. I don't count that either.
I don't know if it bombed, but I'd say Eternals is probably the one that.
That might be
Yeah.
so. That's the recency of it, and that we've hit a hard reset. But after you finished Avengers,
Eternals made four. Well, it made 400.
they don't have the budget.
They don't list the
No, they don't list the
budget.
budget anymore, but 400.
It was probably
400 mil.
400.
Close to it. But again, it was still. I think anything before 2020 is harder to judge at the moment. But I don't. No, nothing financially bombed. I think that the one that was probably the weakest was Thor. I mean, not Thor. Hulk.
Yeah, and that's why they went a different direction very quickly.
But even to that point, I'm saying like we kind of were mentioning. Once you hit Avengers, really, that was
Off
it.
to the races.
They were printing money.
Even this was like them being like, okay, Avengers is safe because like they're already filming Avengers when this comes out, right?
Right.
But like to see the turnaround on a character like Thor do that well, I think they knew it'd do well. I don't think they thought it'd triple.
Well, this was the one of the pieces to get to Thor. I mean,
Right.
to get to Avengers. This was one of the pieces you had to put together, like you said. Once you hit Avengers and Avengers works, and you put that big gamble, as Coy
Changed
was
cinema.
mentioning earlier. Yeah, it did. Absolutely, it did, because it was always, you didn't see those crossovers because you always dreamed. I always dreamed as a kid of, oh my God, I'm going to see a movie with Arnold and Sly. Never happened.
Yeah.
John Matrix and John Rambo never showed up on the same screen. Had that been around the same time when Avengers was coming out, you probably would have seen those two guys, and if they could have gotten their differences behind it, because wait, that works. We can have these big egos together and do it, and that. But that doesn't work unless Thor does well, because even Iron Man 2, because Iron Man 2 before Dark World was considered, and that movie came out, and that was a rushed sequel.
Oh, 100%.
And that's
came out like 2 years later, and the script wasn't even done.
It was just we need it. We need it to come out. It was a massive hit. Got to put it out. Sequel.
And well, on top of that, you had the drama with Terrence Howard, because remember he was
Right.
pissed
He wanted
off
more
that
money.
he was getting that he was about to get less than Downey Jr. and they
Which
were
is
like
crazy.
because he made more than Downey Jr. before, because remember Terrence was
He
doing
was off
well
of
at that
Oscar.
point.
Yeah, and Downey was had to get insured, and yeah, of course they wanted to take a risk on it.
But then he was like, I need as much, if not more, than Robert, and they were like,
And he's
bro,
like, he's Iron Man.
That was the silliest thing. Only at that point, because you don't know where you're going, with the MCU in general. But it's like, how many movies Don Cheadle did as Rhodey?
Can you imagine that realization now?
Bro,
Oh,
what's funny to
sure.
me, and it still stings me every time I watch Iron Man 1, next time. And there is no next
Never.
time. You're
Never.
done.
Literally that line.
You were literally done. And I'm like, bro,
Yeah.
But you blew it.
I'm trying to help you, mother.
It was the same thing with the dude from Matrix. Tank. Was it Tank?
Yeah,
or,
you got
Dozer?
Tank, I believe.
Tank.
Dozer's the big brother. Yeah, I think it's Tank.
The one that survives and shoots.
Yeah, they recast him.
I ran in.
They recast him.
Yeah.
Same reason. He wanted more money. They didn't recast
From-
him.
They just
They didn't
wrote a new
recast him. They
character.
killed him off.
They made Link.
Oh, that's right. They made Link. But Link was so clearly going to be. That's right.
Yeah. I remember
The character was that character.
I remember running into that guy at a bar afterwards and talking to him about it. And
He was demanding more money. Is that what happened?
He was demanding more money. He wanted more. He wanted way more money. And like an obscene amount of money. And it's like, dude, you were good, but
you're not Neo.
Play the long game. Like, I get it for the first movie. Play the long game.
Does he ask for some more money? But you don't need to rob the bank. You're not Neo. You're not Morpheus. You're not Trinity.
But even Terrence Howard, though. Terrence Howard, after the first movie, look, do Iron Man 2, and see where it goes.
Yeah.
And if then start asking for more. I mean, Terrence Howard's great, but Terrence Howard ain't complaining either, though. He's had a pretty great run with all TV shows.
Oh,
and
of
stuff
course.
He's done, too.
Making up new math.
Yeah, and then we would never got Hustle and Flow. So, or did he do Hustle?
He did Hustle Flow before.
That's how it got him.
That's why he got Iron Man.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's hard out here for a pimp.
That's right. It's also hard out for it's also hard out there for people who are not taking care of themselves, and you gotta do athletic greens. I've been telling you about athletic greens, and Winston told me when he came in today.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
He tried it.
Good.
Put it in cold water this time, and everybody. See, I had about 40 packets here, and now there's 3 left because everybody comes in and they want athletic greens, and people love it, and the fans are now starting to get involved in it. I love it. And I put it in bottled water. I shake it up, and I use it all the time. I use it every day, right before I actually do it. Coy, do you do it before or after you eat?
So I like to do this as the first thing in the morning because it kind of like sets my day up. So personally, it's very easy and I can be like half dead. I don't wake up well. So this is my before I'm conscious meal.
Perfect. And it gives you some energy. It's got optimized immune system. I've been doing it for a while now, and it gives me that little pep in my step. We're going to see Thor, and I will be taking an athletic greens with me. I can tell you that right now because I do not want to fall asleep. Not because the movie's not going to be good, just because I'm old. So if you guys want to know, you take 1 scoop of athletic greens, you put 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole foods, superfoods, probiotics, the whole 9 yards. You put it in a bottle, you shake it up. It's fantastic. And I do it because I like the better sleep quality. I like not having to take vitamins, just doing a supplement that tastes good. And it supports better sleep quality and recovery. It supports mental clarity and alertness. It costs you less than $3 a day. You invest in your health, and it's cheaper than your cold brew habit. Athletic Greens has over 7,000 5-star reviews. It is recommended by professional athletes. Reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. It's just 1 scoop in a cup of water every day. That's all you got to do. There's no need for a million different pills and supplements. Look out for your health. Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packets with your first purchase. But you have to visit athleticgreens.com/bigthing. Again, that is athleticgreens.com/bigthing. Take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. Again, just repeating what I said beforehand. You help the show, you help yourself, and look at this bad boy, Athletic Greens. So to show you, I'm not BSing you. I got a whole bunch of them here. Put it in the water, drink it up, love it. It's delish, as my friend Richard would say back home. It's delicious. Get yourself some. I mean, not for nothing. You're not taking care of yourself. You should look at yourself in the mirror and understand that you need a couple Athletic Greens. Just shake it up and give yourself a nice jog in the morning. Put on some running shoes.
Let the record show. When I was back home in Boston, I did run into my old arcade guy, and I thought of you immediately. I went to my old movie theater, and he happened to be in there, and I was like, I wonder if there's like some sort of union. Is there some sort of
someone asked me to put,
union?
can you put Barnaby on the show and just like muffle his voice? And I'm like, dude,
like do the FBI thing, like black out his face.
In no world would I would do a live show with him.
That's smart.
In no world.
You might leave with less Blu-rays. I feel like
I might leave getting incriminated by doing something. He's just like, well, I just ripped off 3 banks last week. No.
You don't want to be his alibi, man. You don't want to be his alibi.
I just saw the frozen casket from the Asgardian.
He is. He's Loki. Barnaby's Loki.
And all that stuff works for me, man.
A name like Barnaby, he sounds like Loki.
So like Loki stuff really worked for me. I see where you're coming from, and I do think there is different versions of writing the character. And if you look at what we've gotten to now with literally having the OG Loki in the show, what we've evolved to is flabbergasting. But I think for what they had to do to start this, having that more aggressive Loki worked. Like I do see why Tom Hiddleston went with that choice. And I think we've earned this more God of Mischief.
I don't know if that's his choice though, as much of it's Branagh's choice and
That's
the writing's choice. You know, because that's how they asked him to play it. And you do see the chemistry and the charisma of Tom Hiddleston for sure, because that you know that I don't know if he was supposed to be a one-note villain, but he just becomes so much more throughout the duration of the MCU. Like
He's
so
the first
much
one to
more.
survive, and like to this day, my favorite show.
Well, in what world would you think, if you're looking at that, like, oh, because the way movies worked back then. Oh yeah, no, eventually this guy here is going to have his own TV show.
Right.
You wouldn't be thinking that at all. You'd be like,
11 years ago.
I would tell you, if you're looking at any of the villains, he's the only one I would have guessed, just because Loki in the comics is one of the few that is constantly
around,
effing with them.
Avengers 1. You know, he's been around from the beginning.
Well, and after Avengers 1, I think for a long time he had the title for best villain.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. The comic book. He was the first Avengers 1. He's the villain.
No, I know. But I'm saying after the movie comes out,
Yeah.
because the way that this is set up, because you can tell he's troubled and he's got these things. It's not, and he's not one note. There's more to why he's doing this. Because normally you would just get it because he just wants to take power, but there's more to, you know, his history and how Odin got him and all that, which we find out later. But he becomes this big villain in Avengers, and then he was the gold standard as far as villains went, because you couldn't get anybody to. Some people argue with me, but I couldn't. There was not a lot of villains that I liked up until I think Killmonger was the one that I was like, and it was so funny. I was like, finally, Killmonger kind of dethrones Loki, and then I think 2 months later, Thanos comes out, and it's like, oh, sorry.
He had a good run.
Yeah, he had a good run.
But that said, I think Loki was the first one to kind of do what they've done with Thor now, where he was playing both the Shakespearean and the more grounded, and being in the MCU flavor. Like Loki, if you look at him, that's what we need. Like we needed Ragnarok to get Thor there. But Loki started doing it even in Avengers. He was starting to play like both. You know what I mean?
That was the starting point for sure. Was definitely in Avengers, and you could. That's the Loki I'm kind of talking about from the books and from the shows, where it's like it is this level of almost Mark Hamill's Joker.
Yeah.
Except with like godlike powers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Where he genuinely is just out here looking for chaos. And that general mischief, but will flip it on a dime and like wreck you.
Just self-serving, man. At the end of the day, and then you've got Thor, who starts as self-serving. You've got Thor that has to evolve, and I love it's crazy to look back at this one and see that Thor was huge, but now he looks tiny. Like the fact that Chris Hemsworth has he had the year or whatever to prep and looks great. Like he's above anyone I know.
He was more he was like thick.
Yeah, he was a guy. It was attainable.
Now he's like ripped and like
what he looks like there, you could get at in like 5 to 6 years.
Right.
What he is now is not. It's genetics and powers. And money. Yeah. There's a thing that he is now.
No,
we can't get there.
Put money first.
It's money. That's fair.
It's money.
Hard work, money.
I mean, look, the two things I think that stick out from the trailer for Love and Thunder is the look at somebody that you care about and then just like his just piercing blue ass eyes and then just jacked.
Right. He's like he's bodybuilder size, but he's talented. And no disrespect to bodybuilders, usually when you're bodybuilding, that's 100% of your life.
Well, that's why I wanted to see incredible. That's why I wanted to see that Hulk Hogan movie. I don't think they're ever gonna do it.
Is it done?
Nah. So Chris Van Vliet interviewed him recently. And he was like, "So what's going on with the movie?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, I'd love to do it." Means
it's over.
It ain't happening.
It ain't happening. And he was he got huge.
He was perfect. It was perfect for it. But he was. It's amazing to see the difference of what Thor was in this movie, what he eventually becomes from Ragnarok, and now Love and Thunder. That is why. And just to be completely honest with everybody, like this, we pre-recorded this. We're going to see Thor: Love and Thunder tonight. So I told the guys before we started here today, I'm nervous for Thor: Love and Thunder because my big worry for that movie is the same worry of what I just talked about with the Kat Dennings stuff. Is I'm not a big Guardians 2 fan. To me, out of all the movies in the MCU, I think it might be my least favorite. Maybe my Black Widow and that one. But I think that it's not because it's not necessarily a good movie, but it's like everybody gets a joke. The last trailer I saw of Thor: Love and Thunder, as great as it looks, I'm worried that they're just going to rely too much on the jokes. And Thor is so radically different from Thor 2011 to now. He's just kind of like, I don't want to say a buffoon, but he's just kind of like a hippie. Like he's not serious at all anymore. He's always cracking jokes. Just kind of like he's kind of like Spicoli at points.
You know what it is. I think the true I think what it is that that's what they lead with advertising.
Yeah.
If you actually go look at Ragnarok, he's obviously joking a lot, but think about.
I love Ragnarok.
No. Yeah. I know, but I'm saying to counter that he is just constantly in joke mode, just from the standpoint of when Odin dies. Spoiler alert again. He obviously he anchors it down. When he like loses his eye, he anchors it down. When he like realizes I am the god of thunder instead of the god of hammers.
They have those moments.
Yeah.
They have those moments, and I hope that those moments are there. You would assume that they would, and Taika's pretty good at that. It just makes me nervous that they're just going to rely too much on comedy and evolve too much on the comedy. But we'll see.
Yeah, I hope it's more boy and wilder people and Jojo Rabbit.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
That's what I'd like.
If they kept the tone of Ragnarok.
So I'm the rare person that doesn't love Ragnarok.
Okay.
I don't dislike it.
There's a lot of people who don't.
It's just it felt disrespectful to the character to me more than even where we started with Thor.
So you're gonna hate this movie.
I possibly.
Yeah, right.
But on rewatch of Ragnarok, I'm hoping it's improved because of where we got with the character. I think much like Thor: Dark World is improved because of Endgame, I think that Ragnarok will be improved because of what they were able to do with the character through the Avengers films.
Do you watch or have you watched either Avenger Earth's Mightiest Heroes or Avengers Assemble?
I've seen Earth's Mightiest Heroes.
Okay, so
some I haven't seen all of it.
So like to me, where splitting the difference would have been perfect is bringing in that iteration of Thor where he's still like I'm Asgardian, but he's also like Hulk. Did you eat the last sandwich?
Right,
like
that would have worked for me.
I think if you split that difference and go there, I think maybe everybody would have been happy. I actually like what they're doing with Hemsworth because again, they realize that he is a comedic.
What they have,
in that regard.
yeah.
So you don't let that go.
There's like 35 MCU properties. Ragnarok's my like 20. It's not bad, but it's not like a lot of people have in their top 10.
Yes, they do.
I know it. When you write your book about your life, I know what you should call it.
What is it?
In that regard.
Ooh, I like that. I like that.
I was gonna say the first one might be 1,000%, and the second one would be in that regard.
As you get more wise and seasoned, in that regard,
1,000%.
Now you're not gonna be able to say it without thinking of your book.
Not at all, dude. You know what it is? The book will be 1,000%. The stand-up special will be in that regard.
Yeah. Well, in that regard, it's a good point. So
it's 17 for me. It's 17 out of 35. It's halfway.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ragnarok.
Okay.
All right. So I mean, listen. This is the movie itself is radically different for sure. But you also get Thor, and I think we're not talking about this as a score. The score is fantastic.
Very well done.
It's really well done. It's a good theme, and it was. During those times, though, where it was Perlmutter was still running around the joint, so what he did, which was terrible, and finally when they pushed him to the side, they started bringing back composers because Feige understands the power of music and the score, and he was bringing back because. So what happened?
I wasn't fast enough because Feige believes in the power of love. Like I just wasn't fast enough to
power of love. But he does the power of music, and Perlmutter was just like, I don't want to pay those guys. Get rid of them. Put them in there. Bring someone else in because this guy does the first score, and then I forget they bring someone else to do the second one. But the first score is really great. But I think there's a lot that works.
Asgard's gorgeous. I love the world.
And I thought that was really good too. They kind of back and forth.
So we're just never going to explain how the Bifrost got rebuilt. I know we haven't got to Avengers Dark World yet, but I just realized because he shatters it at the end of this.
Yep.
And we just never address it.
That's the end of Dark World, though.
No. The end of this one, he just shatters the Bifrost.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then it's back in Ragnarok, and he somehow teleports to the planet. And
he's back in Avengers.
Yeah.
How the hell did he teleport back with no Bifrost?
Right.
He has there's like one throwaway line of dialogue about it, like willpower.
I forget. I don't know how you guys remember all these names and everything too. Like, the Bifrost obviously being the big machine that he breaks.
The Rainbow Bridge.
Right. So who knows? I mean, look, Idris Elba is capable of doing a lot of
great
stuff.
things. So many great things.
He's able to.
And Thor: Dark World uses Idris Elba better than Thor 1 does. Mm-hmm. Like I would say that scene where he's like in like the day-to-day wardrobe.
I was glad that they finally legitimately let him start to do stuff in Ragnarok, but that was the sad part is once you really got him doing something, next second you kill him.
Yeah. We'll talk about that next week on.
I know. Yeah, we're going to.
In regards to.
In regards to.
And regards of?
Before we move it.
In that regard.
Before we move around, everybody. Oh, that's not it. We did that one already. Story blocks. You just tried it. You got it right, Winston?
Yes.
Video is the most effective way to capture an audience's attention, and as a result, modern storytellers are challenged with creative, more video content at a higher quality, involving more voices in the process and distributing on more platforms than ever before. And some of the problems that you face, whether it's meeting output demands, time, budget, knowledge, creative inspiration, passion, burnout, mental health, it's all a problem. Storyblocks makes it possible for creators to keep up with growing demands on all modern video content, so you can bring all your stories to life and stop sacrificing your vision due to time, budget, or resources. A lot of people have been using this. A lot of people who make videos and wanted to get some more footage and browse around on Storyblocks. Go to storyblocks.com/bigthing. Check one of their programs out and get the one that works for you. Storyblocks.com/bigthing. Once again, for people who are making their own videos and doing their own thing, look at Coy. That's not what I'm
doing his own thing.
He's doing his own thing, but make sure you do that and check it out. So look at the stuff that I've told you about today. Go in the link in the description, find out what's great for you, and go and check it out. All right. I think that's the majority of what we. Is there anything else that we need to touch upon? Or
That covers it.
I'm trying to think. We covered Anthony Hopkins,
Rene Russo,
Yep.
The performances, Kat
Dennings.
Dennings. Oh,
The
the doctor, right?
Yeah.
Skarsgård, who's
He was
great.
fun, like wacky hijinks that built up and up. I think his character, you wouldn't expect how big he gets and how important.
Right. I mean, look for the stuff that, whether it's Avengers,
Yeah.
because he ultimately, Loki winds up turning
He's
him.
technically the first one to talk about the multiverse.
Yeah.
Technically.
Right. That's true.
We kept tipping our hat to this. Well, okay. I have my question then. What is your favorite line in this film? Because there's definitely some one-liners.
Another
that-
is so hard to top.
The horse line.
Oh yeah, a horse big enough I can fly.
Okay, if not a horse, then an animal big enough that I can
Yes,
fly.
that scene
Or
is
that can ride.
great.
I think mine might be, we've got Xena, Warrior Princess,
Yes.
Jackie Chan, and Robin Hood.
Yes.
I was like, you're just going to ignore Falstaff over here? But yeah, no, I guess the last thing I would say with this evolution of Loki that thought crossed my mind earlier, Branagh essentially had him go Iago, if you think about it, from Othello.
Yeah.
He had him go
Yeah,
very,
for sure.
very
That's really a
just
point.
like, Othello or Iago with it. And so it's interesting to see he goes from that to a little...
He goes more Puck and Mercutio.
Yeah, he does.
Because Mercutio doesn't always do the right thing, and
Right.
and Puck is almost like villainous in some of the choices he makes as selfishness.
Yeah.
So yeah, he does evolve into like I like that. That's a good point.
Well, look.
Next week on
There's
Shakespeare.
a lot of
class.
points here made that I'm very proud of, and we did it. It's Thor Rewatch, and next week is going to be Dark World. We have 3 Thor rewatches. Obviously, you're going to be this one you're watching right now. You can also see my out of the theater reaction that I did of Thor: Love and Thunder. But you'll be able to watch the Dark World rewatch, and then the following week will be Ragnarok, and then the Monday following will be the spoiler-heavy review that myself, Coy, and Winston do on Love and Thunder. So make sure you check that out, and like I said, if you're brand new to this channel and you haven't done it already, subscribe to it, will you? Check us out on podcast form. Also, podcast form is very important. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere podcasts are found. That's all I got for you. For Winston A. Marshall and Coy Jandreau, that's the show. And
He needs some milk.
damn right he does.